Welcome to the Sparky Coach podcast. This platform was built by Sparkies for Sparkies. We simply exist to make business owners more profitable, or businesses more profitable and more predictable. So we want to work with people that work hard because we love working hard too, that work smart because you got to be on top of the business, people that are kind because no one likes a dickhead. Am I right? People who want results because that's what we're here for, right? And people who want to be part of a like-minded community. So if you're interested in hearing more about the platform, please reach out and enjoy the podcast.
Welcome to the Sparky Coach podcast. Hope you're well, wherever you're listening to. Just wanted to dive in today a little bit around admin. I know I've sort of run a little bit of a topic around job management and the value of it and utilizing and getting the most out of it. I want to have a look at the admin side of your electrical business as well, and probably just really wanted to highlight the importance associated with the admin part of it. Now, I feel as Sparkies, our education and training is based around the doing of the work. So we get well trained, we get skilled up in doing the work. So our natural default least line of resistance is going to do the work because that's probably the part we find the most straightforward, the easiest, the most enjoyable. I'm going to say that probably we're pretty good at it too. Like we're probably pretty, pretty confident in our ability to do the electrical work because that's what we've been trained up in and that's what we've been skilled up in to execute. And our default would be is that, hey, let's go and always do the work. Let's always get the work done. And that's not necessarily because it's what the priority is. It's probably more so because it's the way we're wired, but also too, it's the least line of resistance because we find it actually the easiest part of the business to do. So I want to circle back here into the admin side of it, that often the admin part gets left behind. It gets pushed out to the side, gets left behind in the distance. It gets put as an afterthought. But the reality is that it's probably the most important part of the business because it is what ensures that your business is a success. So a way you can look at it is that admin is not an overhead. It's not a inconvenience. It's not a thing that's getting in the way. It's a bit of an engine. It's a bit of a I guess the lifeblood, so to speak, of the actual business success itself because it ties it all together. Now, often a well-oiled or a nicely flowing administration part of the business helps ensure that the business is profitable, first and foremost. It generally also gives the ability to ensure that the customer experience is top-notch, so happier clients, less stress on you as the business owner often, and then there's also room to grow. There's often too that obviously I touched on the more profitable there, but it can be better margins there as well. So I think we need to think of admin as an extremely important cog of the business, if not the most important cog of the business. Doing the work obviously is extremely important as well, but it's on par with it, particularly if you're looking to have an understanding of how the business is performing and having aspirations for the business to have a little bit of growth and the stress level to be down because then you're in control of it all. So I wanted to have a look at a few things I think that can relate in the administration side of things, or the important areas, I guess, of the admin side of things that we probably often tend to not that we overlook or not unaware of them. It's making everyone aware of them and then diving into them, embracing them, and finding out how we can best put that into practice within our own business. And I really want to focus here on the fact that there's not a million steps associated with this. It's identifying what the important things are, putting some steps and processes in place to be able to ensure that these certain tasks, certain areas are humming and functioning, and understanding that it's a repetitive and continual part of the business every day and every week. And I think if we start to get an understanding and focus on that, a lot of the other noise that we sort of feel or associate with the business can often dissipate because we are doing what I would say probably the basics associated with the admin side of things really well. Now, got a bit of a mantra here probably at Sparky Coach that, obviously we need to close every week. Now, part of that closing the week is often it's just doing the same things continually really well. And it's not about adding more and more and more and more things to your to-do list or more and more things on your weekly task list. It's often about the repetitive nature around some perceived mundane tasks, but doing them continually and really well and honing in and getting them sorted. So wanted to touch on a couple of areas that I think here are really, really important. And one thing here ties nicely in or ties directly in with your job management software. And a lot of that is to do with the job scheduling and the workflow. Now, efficient scheduling obviously reduces downtime, can reduce you needing to be in two places at once, and we've all been there, where we've needed to be we've actually double booked ourselves. The efficient scheduling also allows for the ability to be able to increase the billable hours every single week because you've got an efficient schedule laid out in a travel sense or the the ability of where you need to be. So the job scheduling, the workflow, obviously priorities around jobs, the travel routes, the availability of your technicians, and then obviously your response time associated with it as well. Really, really important to understand the job scheduling and the workflow and the importance around it. And I think where we tie this in with the job management, and I touched on it in the previous podcast, is that it then also reduces the need for communication on an alternative front. And what I mean by that is if you're utilizing a job management software, the communication is done through that. You don't have to send a text message, make a phone call. And ultimately, what we're trying to achieve here is with your administration side of things is the tightening of the system or process that you're doing, which in turn allows you to tighten your efficiencies, which in turn then allows you to become more productive. And the productivity part of the business is so important. Understanding that you have the ability to ensure that your profits continue and increase when you become more productive because there's less downtime around it. So the job scheduling and workflow is really, really important part of it all. There's the cash flow and the invoicing. Invoice every week. Simple as that. It's the lifeblood. So you're ensuring that your pricing, so you're ensuring that your invoicing is going out. It's reducing your delays in getting paid. It allows you to understand of where your situation is with what is overdue, what's not overdue, and then obviously keeps cash flow in the bank. Now, I think here you need to have a look at a way that you're going to go about it. Like, so if you're doing particular styles of work where it's consumer based, so consumer to consumer, get the system or the process in place where you can invoice them while you're on site, so you can take payment. So there's no downtime between the payment side of things. it allows you to increase your cash flow, and then bang, that customer has been dealt with, that customer has been sorted. And then also having an understanding of where, if you're dealing in the B2B space, what the terms are with that client, where they sit, what the expectations are, and the time frame. Now, I was chatting with one of the guys the other week, and they had a client, and I've been in these situations myself, is a client that they really wanted to work for, did really beautiful work, the type of work that they were really, really after. Good work, good jobs, it was great, but just the payments just weren't there. So it just didn't fit within what the requirements were for a particular type of client they were looking to work for. They're chasing payments 60, 90 days after the works have been completed. And it's just like, hey, look, this isn't what we're after. So I think it's about understanding. If you don't have any idea or understanding around where the payments are occurring and where your cash flow is, it's hard to make decisions with the type of client that you're ideally trying to work for, and what I would sort of standardize as your gold standard client that you're looking for. So getting an understanding around the invoicing and a cash flow part of the business, because it's directly related and a lifeblood to your business. And I would say that would cause a lot of stress for a lot of Sparkies. And it's self-inflicted most of the time because we're so busy, because we're creating this busyness around us. So understanding the compliance and licensing side of things. So obviously it may not take a massive part of your business, but it's an important part of it all. So there's the general licensing, knowing there's reminders that may be in place for it. There could be the ability to have the forms or requirements that you need to send out for projects. There's obviously safety associated with that as well. And what I mean by sending out the documentation, the various forms required for completion of project style work, or compliance certificates, whatever they're called or whatever you want to frame them as, there's obviously the requirement around that. Then there is the customer experience. So a smooth, I guess, process associated with it allows you to have a customer experience which is exceptional. So it could be the ability of who they communicate with. It could be who they have the ability to have a conversation with to get the right advice. The quoting goes out on time. There's clear communication. The on time of invoicing is associated with it. The follow-up calls or emails associated at various stages. Now, it's funny, the on-time invoice. I remember chatting to a member of Master Electricians, I believe it was. So I actually worked for Master Electricians, and they had a plumber come around and do some work, and they were stoked. It was really good. Got everything needed done, completed, and then it was like, oh, where's the invoice? And then it was a week, and then it was a month, and then it ended up being about a month. But what happened was the initial experience was, it was amazing. So hey, we're really happy. This got sorted. This got changed. Over the toilet actually got completely replaced. They were stoked with it all. But then, as he was like, hey, I need the invoice, so I text him. I'm ready to pay you. When can you send it? Yeah, I'll get to it. Then another week went by, another week. And as the weeks went by, he noticed that maybe the silicone around the base of the toilet bowl, toilet itself, sitting on the floor, wasn't amazing. And then he was like, is this level? Grabbed the level out, it was level. But what happened was, it gave the opportunity for the client or the customer to build up resistance for when the invoice was being sent or was being received, and then in turn the ability for a complaint to come backwards, which then in turn may mean that you need to do a return visit and or justify or explain yourself in further detail, taking up more time. Whereas if you just would have taken payment on site or sent the invoice the next day or the next week at the worst case scenario, on the following Monday, so to speak, there would have been no resistance at all. So it's really interesting, the whole customer experience associated and having an understanding that, hey, we can create our own resistance in that particular space. There's workplace health and safety associated with it as well. So you may have a basic company induction. You may have some basic safe work method statements. You may have a process around doing a JSA on each job or a risk assessment. You may have a way of reporting incident reports. You may have some specific ways around that workplace health and safety side of things. It is an administration side of the business. It is important, particularly as you start to grow and more, I guess, things come into play within your business, to have an understanding associated with what is and isn't important around your business, but also allows you and your team to be compliant and up to date. So workplace health and safety can be a really important part of the business. Obviously, on the front end side of it is your quoting and estimating. So you have an understanding of what is in the pipeline or what needs to be done. I think this ties in nicely with like a job management software, is that a well managed and well-run job management software allows you to quote and estimate accurately. You've got your catalogs, you've got your suppliers synced with your suppliers, so that you've got an understanding of your accurate material costs, which then in turn gives you the ability to apply the margins that you're looking for, apply the pricing that you're looking for, and then often as well, there's a process that you've got organised so it allows you to miss less items on your quoting, which then ensures that you are not missing things and that you're accurate within your quoting side of things. So really important to understand that part. And lastly on there, there's probably an ability, well, not probably, there's a reporting and forecasting side of things. So you can track jobs. You know, we close the week every week, so we track and close each job, so we've got an understanding of where the jobs are sitting and what's going on. Where's the profitability? How's your team performance? It can allow you to plan ahead a little bit, have a look at tax, BAS, super, potential future hires, so you're planning for your workload, and can provide some real-time data as well to have a look at making your decisions here. So there are some things associated with the admin side of the business. And I think also too, from an administration point of view or an operational point of view, which is extremely important here, looking at how you're going every week, and I really want to focus on this is because we preach it a lot and push it a lot, is closing every week around the invoicing, what I touched on, the quoting, the workload, the schedule, the staff, the clients, and then look to build out part of the business in a system or a process sense each week. So it could be one thing a week or two things a week. I don't think you need to be looking at building out 100 items a week. It'll create overwhelm. Now, if you focus on these really, I guess, basic levels of the admin side of the business, it will allow you to move forward and be on top of the most important areas within your business. What this will also allow you to do is, generally speaking, it can also alleviate some of the perceived issues or perceived need to create a system or a process because something's not occurring. Now, you may be like, hey, I need to, I've got cash flow issues, so I need to create a system or a process around the follow-up of them. It's like, no, let's go back a couple of steps and have a look at how do we improve our invoicing process so we're not having this cash flow issue. So we're looking at from a front end rather than from a back end. Now, it's not to say that you're never going to have to not have some kind of system or process associated with it, but it could be really straightforward. At the end, you're attacking it on the front. Same with, you could be having a look at around the staffing side of things. Now, you may be looking at like creating some what you would perceive as basic or strange systems or processes around your staff members, when it could be like, hey, we need to address this at the front end. And it could be, hey, this particular person's not the right fit for the business, or the type of work that we're doing is not the right fit for the skill set that we have within the business at the moment. So there's different ways to have a look at combating on the front end and identifying the importance around the invoicing, the quoting, your workload, your schedule, your staff, your clients, each and every single week. Because if you're staying on the front foot, then you're not going to be having a look at, hey, what do we need to do on the back end? It's how do we keep improving the front end so we're not adding more and more to the back end. Now, I probably want to finish with a bit of a thought around prioritizing and making it the most important thing each and every week around the admin. Now, I know we all get busy, and busy is a perception. A lot of us are creating our busyness and urgency by going to the job and doing the job. Now, what I want to do is I want to make the admin part of the business the main priority each and every week, because the time associated with it is not going to be as great as doing the work itself. Now, obviously, the doing of the work is really important, but a lot of this can be alleviated through some communication. Now, I know Crowley bangs on about this all the time. I bet no one here is listening has ever missed a switchboard upgrade. So the same mentality needs to be applied to the admin side of the business, is that we shouldn't miss our admin allocation of time, because what it does is it creates pressure and then in turn puts stress on us as the business owner, and then in turn then creates a busyness that we've put onto ourselves. So really want to focus on how you can get the admin time pinned down within your week. I want to make sure how you can get the admin time, I guess, so sacred every single week that it is the most important thing getting done, and you're identifying, hey, that our invoices are being done, our quoting's being done, we're understanding where our workload's sitting at, what our schedule, how our staff are, and what our clients are doing, and then what is the one or two items that we are working on to make the business better in a system or process sense. But finishing on that note there, that admin, make it the priority. Find the time each week, allocate it in each week, right? And make sure that you focus on the key items that get done each and every week to ensure that the business then keeps moving in a forward direction and is humming along. So thanks for tuning in as always. Look forward to seeing you all around and tuning in when we drop another pod later in the week. So thanks very much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Cheers.
That's a wrap on another podcast. Whatever you're doing, don't be too busy to stop and check if you're making money. And above all else, you know the rules, be kind. See you soon.